Teachers, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on this Sunday, the 10th of September. Wow, almost skipped that one. 2017. Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy to have you on. I am live today with our good friend Ken. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello. We literally just been on the show. Like, we got the sound working about 30 seconds ago, so that was really good timing.
What are you talking about, sir? I don't know what you mean. It's been going great this whole time.
Yeah, this was planned. Jeez. I'm good, sir. How are you doing? How are you on this fine day?
I am doing pretty darn good, actually. I'm feeling pretty good. It's a good morning and getting into the afternoon here, so I'm feeling great. And coming to, let's see, what do I want to mention right up front? Let's see. All that's happy and good. I think yeah. Anyhow, hopefully today, and I'm going to knock on wood, and that's going to make it happen, unfortunately, we'll have an error-free technology good day, as we shall see how things treat us today. But no, we won't know until it goes. Do you want to go ahead and start off things with a little bit of
functional deviations?
As it's time to catch up and say, sorry we missed you last week. Ken and I were both busy and running around. I was out of state doing convention things again, as I like to do, which we will get into and I will talk about later. But to start things off, we'll say, Ken, what have you been up to? What are you doing?
Well, sir, I'll keep it brief because I know you've got a lot more interesting things to talk about than I do, in a way. My personal life's been interesting. Professional life's been interesting. I've had a lot going on there. Again, I've been traveling for the past week. That's why we weren't on last week. Apologies for that. But at the time of the show, I was several hundred miles in the air, I think. So yeah, I definitely couldn't go on the show because I've been at a course for the past week. So the 4 weeks previous to the past week, I've been doing joint work with a company that sponsors my PhD. However, last week I've been at NATCOR, which is I don't actually know what it stands for. I should really know that, considering I've now completed one of their courses. If you Google it, it comes up. It's a National Taught Course Center in Operational Research. There you go. So operational research is when you have like a bunch of resources, a bunch of things, people, machines, vehicles, or whatever in a company, government, military organization, or whatever, and you're like, I currently use all this stuff. How can I use it better?
Okay.
So it's a fairly simplistic idea, right? Like it also is known as management science, but pretty much everybody who actually studies operational research hates that term because we're not managers. None of us are managers. We're all external people and scientists who are like checking efficiencies and optimization, right? It's our output is used by management people, and quite often we're hired to help reorganize stuff, but we are not management in any which way. We're just not. So I hate the term management science, which is what it's commonly known as. But yeah, operational research. And so I was at a course for the whole week, which had an exam at the end of, which I'm happy to say I passed, which is a good thing, because this is by far the most difficult exam I've ever done.
Really?
Even though it was only 20 multiple choice questions, but it was incredibly difficult. It was on operational research stuff with the subtopic of combinatorial optimization. So if you think of, you have a problem where you have like a couple dozen of employees, and you're trying to find the best way to have them work like a bunch of different shifts throughout a month. The combinations of that alone are in the hundreds of thousands, right? Like you can't by hand work out the most optimal place to put them all. It's literally impossible. You literally cannot. A lot of managers don't even bother like trying to make an optimal solution. They're just like, so long as it's okay, it's fine. Right, I'll do. But the truth is, if you get the best people in the best place, your company can save a lot of money. It makes your employees more happy if they work the shifts they like, etc., etc. Like, generally speaking, there are these efficiencies that can be made. And we're looking at techniques to not necessarily solve these problems, but techniques to decide if the way that we solve the problem itself is efficient or not. So it's kind of a meta approach, and that's what I've been doing the past week. I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's the premise of it. So it's good. I passed, and I'm happy with that. It's over done with, and that makes me happy. It was fun. It was enjoyable, but I'm glad it's over as well because it was stressful. You know, like nobody likes waiting for an exam all week. Sadly, I haven't been to the gym in the past week, which is bad because the whole month before that I was going 4 or 5 times a week, and I haven't been in the past week at all. And my diet's been kind of crappy the past week, so that's sad too. But that's my sort of professional and what I've been up to in the real world, I think, mostly. I don't think I have any crazy stories to say this time, thankfully. I do want to give a shout out to the art contest. If you go to vtlproductions.com, go to the forums at the top and go down to the ShowX board. Also helps if you are actually a member of the forums.
Which is
you will
free.
find that we have, which is free, completely free. You do need to put in your email, and ideally it needs to look kind of realistic. Like, don't use some like username at zz1234zz.com or something. We'll think that's spam.
Yeah, if you use your regular like gamer name or your real name and have an email that looks normal and is not from Russia, you will likely get in. Otherwise, I will say no.
If you're Russian, just make a Gmail, man. Just make a Gmail.
Seriously, because when it comes from .ru, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, understandably, almost all the ones we do get from Russia are spam accounts. So, but we do have. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the last winner because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So we had I want to say last month, but the last iteration of the art contest, the 20th ever art contest. We had a total of 5 submissions and a total of 5 votes. So. Thankfully, we clearly didn't all go in and vote for our own things, though, because there was a clear winner. With 3 votes, for number 1 was Earthweaver with his piece titled Stormy Sunset, which is this long exposure lightning composite shot looking over some sort of building in a forest with lots of lightning in the background, and it's quite a nice shot. So. Thank you very much for that.
I am going to, for people on the video feed, I'm going to put that up right now just so you guys can see his shot. Although you should really come to the forums to be a part of this. So if you look at the video feed now, you'll see Earthweaver's shot right there, which, let's see, what did you say it was called?
Well, he officially calls it Lightning Composite on his Flickr, but he calls it Stormy Sunset on the art contest.
And talking to him about this shot, essentially he was sitting outside my parents' house, and that's actually in the bottom of that's the garage outside my parents' home, that was just looking off to the west as the sun was setting and there was a lightning storm going on, and he took multiple shots of long exposures catching various hits of lightning and then just put them all together in the same shot.
Nice. That's very nice. Yeah, it worked out quite nicely. It's a cool thing to do, and I'm jealous because we rarely get lightning here, and if we do have lightning, you don't see it because it's behind a myriad of storms, right? So it's neat to see that he's actually managed to successfully put together a shot like that because it does take time and effort and skill. So well done, Earth! Congratulations on winning the 20th art contest. As such, the 21st is now live. If you want to come take part in the 21st art contest, the themes include experimental, Halloween, because this will breach over into November, so we should have Halloween in there. First attempt is a subject. Now, I chose that theme intentionally because if you're a first-time photographer or you're a first-time artist in any which way, you want to try something out and you don't want to, like, maybe you feel judged normally, submitting under the theme of first attempt comes with this great ability to say, hey, it's my first attempt, you know? So just go submit. It doesn't have to be anything particularly fancy. It gives you your opportunity. This is your chance to do something new. As such, I've actually pulled out my camera for the first time in a long time. Everything I've been putting in the art contest for a while has been old shots and the likes. So, or in the last contest, it was actually from my phone. Those pieces I put in was photos on my phone. But I've actually fished out my real camera, and further, I have joined my university's photography society.
Hey!
And they've got like a bunch of things planned. We're going out and going to zoos and going to botanic gardens, and we have like mini themes and stuff we try to do. And I think we're gonna try and get a dark room and maybe do some like fun liquid shots and stuff. I think we'll get to play with each other's equipment maybe, which is cool. I'll probably bring these fancy studio lights that we have here. I'll also be bringing
reflectors.
This thing. Yep. Which I actually got for the show. I should be pointing this in my face, but I found that it makes little to no difference, and it's very
the
difficult
lights
to
we have are
position it
powerful
with
enough
lights.
the lights you have are powerful enough that it's kind of the reflection doesn't do much.
Yeah, and it was only worth like £4 or something, so I think I don't feel like I'm missing out. Like if it was worth like £500, I'd be like, no, I'm using it. But no, it's I don't. So I'll be bringing that and a bunch of other random things around. I have like an external flash with a little like clicky button you can use or attach it to the camera and stuff. So all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of these guys who joined the club, often they're just people with like, I don't know, non-SLRs, or they just have an SLR. So if I can bring 5-6 years worth of kit that I've garnered over time to this, hopefully I can help them out and they can help me as well. Plus, I don't want to sound like I'm being pompous here, because the shots that these guys have put up into our like little photography group thing, they've been kicking ass. Like they have some beautiful stuff. If anybody is interested, I'll put in the show notes just now. Although you're typing where I was going to type, sir. There's my University Society's Photography Society's Facebook page that we created last week. Likes are welcome if you're interested in seeing some Scottish photography is there. So back to the point was that the first attempt theme exists on the art contest. Go take part. It's your opportunity to try out something new. Even if it's like a sub-genre, like I have never done flower photography, or I have never drawn, I don't know, like an entire continent before. I'm now a cartographer. Do whatever you want. This is your opportunity. Fireworks, because on November 5th in the UK, remember 5th of November, right? It's Guy Fawkes night, so there's an opportunity for any UK people to get some shots there. And plus, as we go further into the winter, autumn, I suppose, season, we have more people setting off fireworks as it gets darker anyway. So it's a good opportunity for anybody. Other one is algorithm. I don't know why. I just kind of felt like putting that one in there. And plus, I'm always surrounded by algorithms. Yeah, I'm surrounded by them anyway, so maybe I can get some silly one there. And then lastly, I'm always trying to have a quote in here just to mix up. And I think it's quite a fun one that I saw on the wall of a mathematics department last week. And it says, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." And there's a quote by Aristotle, 384 BC to 322 BC. So I think that's quite an interesting theme as well. You can probably mix it up and try different things there. But I try to make these themes as open as possible so that anybody can come take part and try something new. The final end date is November 26th. But as always, that seems like a long time away, but it will definitely creep up on you. So please do try to do it sooner rather than later. I think we've got something like 6 weeks or something, so you do have some time, but plan, have a think about it. Make sure you bring your camera on Halloween. Make sure you have some ideas for your Halloween. Take photos of, even if you do other artsy stuff like decorating your house, I would say is a type of art. Just snap a photo of it. It doesn't need to be photography per se. I would just say it's a photo of a different thing of art, right? Loads of different ways you can take part, so please do. With that, that's pretty much what I've been up to in my non-geek. So, sir, please, what have you been up to?
Well, I do want to throw a shout out to Mr. Bitey. Unfortunately, it's a kitty trauma thing, as Grayfield put into the IRC that yes, her sister's cat Bitey passed away a couple weeks ago, and that is sad. But she did go out and get a rescue kitty and has a new member of the family, although I forget its name. It's also challenged because one of my friends, our friend Kuro's girlfriend, adopts kitties, rescues them, and after visiting for Game Fest, suggested that she could have kitties that I would be able to adopt, and I have kind of gone back and forth with saying whether or not I'm ready to add a new member to my family. But got some extra pressure from both his girlfriend and my friend Hyde as they were live streaming on the kitties that she has and commenting that like, oh look, here's one that Wayne could get. why not? And I was just like, to the point where I was like, I feel like I'm getting attacked. They were pressing heavily for me to get a kitty, and I don't know if I'm ready yet or not. But anyhow, so speaking of, well, what were you gonna say again?
I was going to say, well, just like with all pets, there's ups and downs, right? I mean, it's great because you get to, you love, everybody loves having a pet for obvious reasons, but there are some downsides that, like traveling's more of a pain. You need to be home more often. You need to, set up people to look after your pet when you're not there, etc., etc. Even on things like, I want to go out for dinner straight after work. I should really go home and feed the cat first. Stuff like that does build up, and it can be annoying at times. And with every horrible thing when a pet passes, there is a slight reprieve where you have a period of it's a period of mourning as well, but it's also a period of kind of like silence in a way, because you can actually maybe enjoy some of the aspects of the freedom that comes with not having a pet for a little while. So if you're done with it,
it's something that, like, when I've had a roommate leave or something, that for a little while I'm not in a rush to refill a roommate's spot, because it's kind of nice to have that downtime. Just kind of reset before getting another. And actually, yes, on somber note, I want to throw out a remembrance, because unfortunately in the last week, Hando lost his mother. And
Hando, I had no idea.
Yeah, she passed from cancer, and we definitely want to say, I am sorry to hear that, sir. That is never a fun thing to deal with. It is, it's just, loss. Loss is terrible.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I know that you've put in so much effort in the past few years trying to always visit her and be there for her and be very supportive with her. So I know that comes as a big blow. You have all of our condolences. We are very sad for you, sir.
Definitely. Sorry about that, sir. Also, a hope that people that have friends and family out in the southeast of the U.S. right now, that they are safe, as there are hurricanes that have been ravaging our southeastern coasts. Currently, Hurricane Irma is getting into Florida right now, and I have friends, one who's down there in Disney World right now working, and having to hunker down and be prepared for the hurricane to come up, as well as some other friends that I met recently at DragonCon who live out in Florida, who have now evacuated and headed up north to get away from the storm. And so, hopes to all of that being good. So, much love, much hope for everyone else that's struggling with things. And then as we continue forward, changing notes and being a little more happy, or we'll see how it goes notes. You were speaking of diet, Ken. I have recently adjusted mine. And what I have done, for better or worse, is that I have decided to go about starting a ketogenic diet. For those who don't know, ketogenic is a concept similar to what people have seen with Atkins and stuff like that in the past. It is essentially a zero carbohydrate, low protein, high fat kind of diet. You shake your head, Ken. I did a ton of research before starting this. Also, I know a lot of people who are living with this. Is not just a diet, but an actual change in the way they live their daily lives. People have been doing this for not just like a month or two or months on end, but years. And are able to manage it very well. But it partially came from my sensei, the gentleman who teaches me in my martial arts. 3 months ago, he started ketogenics, and he's 6'3" and weighed 250 pounds. Now, 3 months later, he has gotten just under 200 pounds. So he has lost over 50 pounds doing so.
Slowly dying by not eating properly will do that.
Well, you say that, but the studies show that this is actually a proper diet. It's been studied back to the 1920s, and they originally used it primarily as a way to fight against epilepsy. For people that have challenges dealing with carbohydrates, and especially in the way that modern foods use carbohydrates compared to more raw foods, that there's actually sugar added in a lot of cases, and a lot of times it's not natural sugars. And just the way that bodies will burn carbohydrates faster, but in most cases people take in way more carbs than their body can process, and therefore gain weight, gain fat. The way that ketogenics works is essentially it retrains the body to burn fat as a primary fuel source, which is a much more condensed energy source. And like I said, this is not new. There's studies going back over 100 years on just stuff about it.
I know that in the past couple of weeks there's been 2 revolutionary papers in the field that have come out saying that there are some studies coming out with it saying that basically higher fat, lower carb diets have been proven to increase median lifespan. So people in the Middle Ages are more likely to survive through their Middle Ages if they are on a higher fat, lower carb diet. But that, like I said, that's higher fat and lower carb, not all the fat and none of the carb, right? That's what I've seen that I know is legitimate, and I do agree that we do need to eat more healthy fats in our diets, like fish oils and things like that, olives, etc. Nuts. They have great sources of good fats. But that being said, we need to cut out the worst fats, these sort of fast food fats, etc.
Oh, absolutely.
Stuff from bad meats, etc. That's just
it's interesting
thing,
because history's shown now in a lot of the science that fats have gotten a very bad rep because of the 80s, when people just basically said, well, if you cut out fat, I'll lose weight. And then it's been proven throughout the years that that's not the case. It's the way the body actually processes fuels that causes it to do the various things. But regardless, like I said, I'm on the diet. I'm not trying to sell anybody else on it. Just saying that this is what I'm currently doing, and we'll see. And I've been tracking others who've been doing this, and they're loving it. So we'll see how things go.
Well, hey, each to their own. I would just say personally, like, hey, look into it. Maybe talk to your doctor or anybody out there who's interested in this kind of thing. And I think the number one key that everybody should follow is, if you really want to be healthier, just follow what every government in the world is saying, what every health organization is saying, which is eat a moderate amount of food, don't eat too much, don't eat too little, have a good variety, and eat mixed colors, and try to get your 5 a day, and also try to walk 10,000 steps a day as a minimum, a type of exercise. And then that's the basis for any healthy lifestyle. Anything further than that, look into yourself, but I'd say that's the bare bones right there.
Yep. So, like I said, that's just something I'm working on. It is a challenge as I go through it a little bit, because living in a society where carbs are everywhere, it becomes a bit difficult to avoid them. And it made it even more so this weekend because I also helped celebrate, somewhat randomly, Akko's birthday from Zenko Akko Cosplay. Akko had invited my local group to come meet his parents, who were going to be in town. And so we're like, oh, this is a great opportunity, let's do this. And of course, then it's like, well, if we're going to go do something, let us go grab some food. And so in doing so, we went to a restaurant called Toast, which is a breakfast-style restaurant that is all about French toast, pancakes, things like that, which essentially are all carbs. Now, the nice thing is I was able to work through what the menu was and get an Eggs Benedict with bacon and tomato instead of English muffins. And the hollandaise sauce is a good fat type setup and everything, so it worked out great. And I did just fine. But it's been a challenge with that, where it's how do I, work with this new concept of a diet and make it work for me. And so we'll see how it continues in. But speaking of and it's going to be a butt today.
It's time.
And we'll just do that, and we will keep the talking. So background music is going to go away for us for now because it continues to do that. But continuing forward.
I wonder, by the way, here's a totally random thing. Perhaps what we could do, effectively what Sam is doing is it's accessing media files and just playing them, right, and put them onto the stream. How about we set up a virtual audio cable so that it takes in from a media source like iTunes or Winamp or Windows Media Player, VLC, whatever, uses it as a microphone, passes it into the stream as a microphone, and then and melds it with your actual microphone so that we can have both coming in at the same time. And that way you can control the music by just through a music player.
There's going to be some ways. I've been looking at some other ways to deal with the streaming issues. And for anyone who has a struggle with this, as Sam decides to keep freaking out on it, feel free to jump. And what we highly recommend is watching the YouTube feed, because the audio goes through just fine. It's just Sam that keeps freaking out on us and having trouble understanding what it's supposed to be doing at any given time. And so that's our concern. It's really Sam Broadcaster. It's not the YouTube channel, which we do straight through OBS and does great things and is fine and happy. So, yeah, come on and try to, just keep on with, let's see. And I'm going to jump behind me real quick because the 24/7 stream will pick up the live stream. I killed Sam, brought it back, and so it picked up the archive again as I'm going.
Right. Sure. No problem. So I'm pretty much just talking to the YouTube stream right now. So hello, YouTubers. You are listening on the format which is actually reliable, unlike Sam. I gotta say, it's actually weird to see Wayne here dressed normally, because of the amount of stuff I've seen of his cosplaying and the likes recently. It's strange to see him without makeup or without his hair done, without suits.
Oh, that one's just not acting nice to me. Piece of junk. Anyhow, so I'm back here. Yes, I look normal. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm
But
just saying, I'm so used to seeing you in the photos online all the time, dressed up nowadays. It's weird to see you not dressed up now.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Oh, whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. So, also going in and talking about, so went to Toast, like I said, got good food and stuff like that. But from that, like I said, well, that was wonderful. We then went out and visited, the Botanical Gardens? Here in
nice.
Denver, which I had
That's
never
weird.
done
We
before.
brought that up separately.
Oh?
No, it's just weird that I was saying that during the Photography Society is planning on doing a trip to the Botanic Gardens or whatever, and then you bring it up separately. It's just a little odd that we've never talked about Botanical Gardens before. Then in one show we both bring it up separately over
That is funny.
hundreds.
That is
It's
funny.
basically unlikely.
Well, so it's something that thankfully Zenko Akko have a membership to it, and we're able to get us all in free. And also
nice.
shout out to my friend the Buffalo Princess, who had come down to visit us as well, and I'm going to leave that out there as an inside joke. But did the Botanical Gardens, gorgeous. It was interesting just walking around, although I didn't have my camera with me, which made me feel almost like a little bit naked in the process.
I would imagine it would, yeah.
You're kind of like, hey, I've got my camera, and normally all these beautiful flowers and stuff, I'd have to capture this. All I have is a terrible phone that is ready to die and doesn't do itself justice, so did not happen. Also,
Did you see that? Sorry, totally randomly again. I don't mean to keep buying you in here.
Not at all.
Did you see that terrible TED talk that came out like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
I did not.
It was this guy saying, "Stop taking so many photos. Put your camera away and just enjoy the moment." And it's like, okay, I see your point, right? Like, and there are times where I'd agree with you. Like, stop taking photos of fireworks unless you're professional, because you're not going to look back at them. You're wasting your time. Like, nobody's like, "Hey, do you want to look at those photos from the fireworks in 2005? Let's go look. Let's find those. Let's find those photos and watch them for 20 minutes." That doesn't happen. Nobody does that, right? But admittedly, like if you're having like, I don't know, so say you're at a concert or something as well. You say like, don't take the photos there either. There's no point in it because you're there for the moment. I understand that. But if I'm out taking photos of stuff and doing it to take photos, that part of the memory is doing that. Like if I'm on holiday and want to capture the moment, that's part of the fun for me. Shut up, TED Talk guy. That's just dumb. Don't tell people not to take photos. That's one of the most beautiful things about our age is that we record everything. You know, a moment doesn't slip by. We can look back on it fondly. We can do that now. That's when it's same with like when pets pass, etc. There's nothing fonder than having photos of them. You know, if you didn't take photos of them during the moment occasionally, you wouldn't be able to relive those moments again, and you'd feel super sad. I mean, I know with my my dog that passed away like 10 years ago, I'm still sad that there's only like 12 photos that I can find. That's sad, you know. I wish there were more. I wish there was videos, etc. But there's just not, and that's why it's important. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you with a random rant.
So, I mean, I understand that in the same sense, in that we are in a time where we get more photos taken of the world constantly right now than ever before, and it's actually a good thing. We're documenting all the stuff that's happening. Future generations will have so many things to reference. And like you said, when it comes to those events, there's times where I wish I had my professional camera with. Sometimes my cell phone's enough to get a moment, but it's no problem with doing that. I've learned, and I understand this to a degree, especially when going to concerts and such, that some people spend the entire time trying to film the whole concert versus sitting there just enjoying it. And I will try to do a blending where certain memorable songs come on. I will try to capture no more than like a minute of a song to then, you know, kind of have it, share it a little bit, and then I will sit there and watch the show. But even when I do capture, I'm not looking at the back of my phone or the back of my camera or whatever that I'm filming with. I'm actually looking at the event. I set it up, look at it real quick to make sure it's framed, and then I'm very good at just holding my camera there. and getting great shots without having to look at my camera. So in a way, I'm able to do best of both worlds. But I agree with you. Screw that. Take all the photos you want. It's a fun thing to do, and it's great. But I did feel that odd about Botanical Gardens not having mine. At the same time, though, it was nice and it was beautiful to go through, and it was fun to be able to hang out with and meet Ako's parents, and hang out with Zenko and Hyde at the same time throughout. It was a good time throughout. We had so many stories of like young baby Ako, which were great because it helped define, or it basically showed he's been the same person throughout. He's a very direct individual, pulls no punches, and it's tons of fun. So that was a good time. Also, we ended up back eventually at my place, as happens a lot between us all. And I finally got to get them to finish watching the last episode of Westworld, which makes me so happy. For any who don't know, I love Westworld and thought it was such an amazing series and cannot wait for the next season to come out. And we had been lingering going through various costuming projects and such where they got to watch parts of it just whenever we had time. And so I finally got them to finish watching it, and they enjoyed it as much, and we started having conversations about all the possibilities of what could happen in the next setup with Westworld and such. And so that made me very happy because it's one of those shows I think helps from being able to discuss and share. Also, I was introduced to, by Zenko Ako, a show on Netflix, which is a documentary. And admittedly, there's some amazing documentaries out there on Netflix. This one was called Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And essentially, it's a documentary about one of the most famous sushi makers in Japan. A gentleman named Jiro, who works in... the Roppongi district out in Tokyo, has this tiny nothing of a restaurant, but it's a restaurant that he has been making sushi since he was basically 19 years old, and he was first apprenticing, and he's currently like in his 80s. And it averages for a meal there to start at $300 per person, and goes up from that based on the fair market value of fish that day. And so it's ridiculous. But it talked this whole thing showing how he makes the sushi, what he's been doing, that he loves every moment of it. And for someone like me who admittedly doesn't love sushi because I don't like seafood a whole lot, just like any good show that really helps explain how things are done, and this one with the cinematography, especially on food, man, there were some things there I wanted to try. Just because it made it look so amazing. And the discussion of how it was made and the care taken into it. And just, it was so cool. So it's one that I'd recommend to anybody, whether you love sushi or not. And it's funny because there's been people, even in the documentary, it talks there a little bit about people who had heard about them on TV and then booked, that, he's like the oldest guy to hold a Michelin 3-star rating, has had it for years kind of thing. And some of the reservations to get in there can go out a year to like get into his restaurant. So if you do ever want to go, plan ahead, by the way.
Yeah, say the least.
But definitely want to throw that out to people. Also, final thing for me on my non-geek this week is that I am waiting, and I know you'll make fun of me, Ken, for the next Apple event that's supposed to happen the next 2 days. Because Apple is supposed to be... They're supposed to be introducing their new iPhone 7s, I believe, as well as potentially their iPhone 8. And I say this because I'm currently working on an iPhone 4S, which struggles to even exist in life. To the point of when we were running around after toast and getting some tea with Zenko Ako and folks, Hyde Meyer was playing Pokemon Go as she does. And Zenko and Ako both like, we haven't played for a while, let's update. We're all Team Mystic. I was like, you guys fail. But they started playing because of all the new raids and stuff, and I was like, I have not been able to log into the game since my my old 6 died. And I tried again, and I finally got my 4S to log in. After months of attempts and me just sitting there being patient, I got it to log in, and it was to my correct account, thankfully. So Found was like, hey, look, I'm still level 26. Then I went to touch... was it a Ditto? Or not a Ditto, sorry, a Diglett that was sitting there. I was like, hey, let me get this Diglett. Clicked on it, and it like slowly tried to render the starting to zoom into the Diglett.
Oh,
and
no.
then just crashed. Crashed out completely. I was like, or not. Awesome. So
Worthy attempt.
Through that, and the fact that the battery just wants to disappear after moments of use, I am desperately waiting for a new phone for me to be able to go purchase. And yes, I follow the iOS iPhone statuses, is what I've owned for smartphones throughout, and I do like them. And so I'm looking forward to doing it again. So we'll see. But I mean, there's still going to be questions of cost and features and whatever the next phone does do. So I'll be waiting till we see what happens and report back from that. All right, that is what I've been doing that has not been geek. Next, let's get into some emails. I think I have one sitting in there as we get ready to talk about geek. And so we have an email. I don't know if you're logged in, Ken, to the email box to check that out from our friend Agrius SW. Would you like to jump on this one?
I can. Okay. Greetings, good sirs, of show after W, but before Y. It's Agrius SW here, with some geek cred to share. I recently was part of a Warhammer 40k Shadow War Armageddon League at my local tabletop store. I was running a Grey Knight army and ended up as 4th in overall going into the final round. That's pretty good. My first match was against the forces of Chaos, and thanks to my Emperor's blessings, I was able to crush the traitors with such might they lost their will to continue the fight and ran away from battle. My second match was against a fellow Grey Knight player. Our team were almost evenly matched, but in the end, after neutralizing his heavy weapons and his paladin, his group was unable to continue and failed their leadership check and thus retreated. After 2 solid wins, I was in the final round for first or second, and my final battle was to be against the Tyrannid player, who I had fought in previous weeks and crushed each time we did battle. With the day nearly done and low on energy, he decided to surrender and accept second place rather than face me for the 4th time. In the end, I went from the bottom of the finals to the top, taking home a gift card that I used to purchase more Grey Knights for my new army. And to top it off, my army was voted best painted. Hey, that's an even better reward, in my opinion. That's great. Which made me all the more happy since I painted all 5 myself. Big shout out to the Guild House in Bellflower, CA, for hosting this event, to the players who helped make it a great time, and my fiancée Ambrosia for giving me advice on painting my own models. Thanks for taking the good time to read this wall of text, and keep up the great work, good sirs. P.S. If you love unicorns, you might want to check out this awesome Kickstarter for a unicorn card game made by the good folks from T-Turtle. Only 5 days left with over $1 million raised. I will add my support very soon. Yeah, we can give a link to that. That's fine. Yep, it's got $1,007,000 so far, and it does look rather cute. I'll give it that. It's in the show notes for anybody interested. All right. So that's the email. Shall we go on to our next? What's the time actually? Yes. Shall we go into our next section?
Absolutely. Let us go into.
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
So, with Geek Cred, Ken, what have you been doing that's been geek this week?
Well, today, I arrived back on Friday evening. I got back into my house about 1 a.m. or so. But I actually got convinced by Kitten Features this weekend to try watching a new show, and I was like, I don't know, I kind of just want to sit and chill on the Xbox, and I don't know if I want to do anything like that. And she was like, go on, let's try it. It's great. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And I was like, okay. I'll give it a shot, And I did. Gave it a shot. And we binge watched all of it today, and it's done.
That show
is known as The Tick.
Really? So you guys went through and watched all of The Tick on Amazon Prime? Yes,
the entire thing, and that was pretty enjoyable. So first of all, the one of the main things that I thought was most interesting with the show, before I actually talk about the show itself, was that it had quite a lot of product placement.
Interesting.
Two major things. The first thing was vitamin water. Coca-Cola's product. It was featured multiple times, and I was like, okay, that's a little annoying. One of the main bad guys is constantly is going into the fridge and grabbing one, or has one in his hand, and they always it seems like every time he has one, there's always some moment where he gestures towards the person he's supposedly talking to, and which is also the camera, and it's like, oh, vitamin water, oh, look at that, doesn't that look tasty? Oh, in the script, it's like, okay, I get it. That was a little annoying. And the second one, which was less annoying, and it was kind of more funny, I guess, was what was it called? The Amazon. Oh, actually, this thing right here, the Amazon Echo. This little thing. And I promise Amazon are not paying me to show this on this show right now. Sadly, you Amazon, if you want to, hey, no, look at this. Look at this. This looks like a hockey puck, but it's talks. So yeah, they had that in it as well, where there was one of the big evil dudes was talking, and he was like, Alexa, play ominous music, and then it showed like the hockey puck talking and saying, shuffling ominous music playlist on Spotify or something like that. And it was funny, it was just a nice little. It was funny. I don't mind product placement if product placement is done well, right?
Well, so here's a question, about the product placement in the Tick. Would it, or is whether you can find every one of the products that was advertised in the Tick on Amazon, preferably Amazon Prime, to be shipped directly to your door, in some cases within 2 hours.
I don't know. That would be smart of them, though, right? Like, if they actually had a scene where they were like, we need to get this thing, but it seems to only be in, like, some other country or something. We need it by, like, 12 p.m. tomorrow. I don't know, let's use Amazon Prime. That might have been funny. I might have been annoyed by that, actually. I don't know. So yeah, that was pretty interesting to see that. But I've been really enjoying it. It was a lot of fun. There's 6 episodes out so far. And I don't know when the next one's coming out, but I'm kind of itching to see it. I wasn't sold by the premise. Premise is there's one main character who's this dude with like psychiatric problems, because he watched his dad get crushed by the falling hero, like superhero ship. When the superheroes in his town were defeated by the villains, the ship landed on his dad and his dad's car, right in front of him. And then he's like, since then he's been screwed up in the head and has this weird obsession with like following the villains and stuff. But anyway, he's like totally extremely nervous, awkward, kind of.
This is the one following Arthur.
Yes. He is pretty much Leonard from Big Bang Theory, like pretty much entirely. Like there's like very little difference. And I realized this came out before the original The Tick cartoon came out well before Big Bang Theory. So technically speaking, they're not stealing that. But I feel like the characteristics are, even the way he speaks is very, very similar. It must have been an inspiration at the very least. Which was a little annoying, actually. I find his character a little annoying at times. However, it is made up for 10 times over by the Tick himself. The Tick is this character who has absolutely no memory as to how he got there, or where he's from, or anything. All he knows is that I'm a superhero, and I'm here to save the day. And he's a very comedic character. He's kind of like a young boy's version of, or a young kid's version of what a superhero should be. Like, I will fight crime and I will not kill anyone. But he has a super strength and bullets bounce off him and, all this stuff. But he has no reason to do anything evil. He tries never to kill anybody. If they kill themselves, he's like, well, they did it to themselves. Who cares? He's just a big dumb superhero is kind of like what he is.
Yeah, he's very direct and very simple in his mindset. Even to the point of being a little simple about things sometimes, which is somewhat entertaining. And yeah. But no, it is a good show.
Yes, it is good. I do recommend watching if anybody's interested. It's on Amazon Prime. It's lots of fun. There's a couple of things that are annoying about the show, but overall, I do generally recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and I was only planning to watch 1 episode today, and I ended up watching 6. So take that for what it's worth.
Nice.
All right. Next up, I continued watching MASH. I'm not yet finished because there is so much MASH. There's so much. There's an insane amount of MASH.
It went on for years. Definitely a thing.
Oh yeah. I feel like several of the. I never noticed how awkward it was. The passing of more people coming on the show each time. It's always a little awkward. But there you have it. I do recommend MASH as well. It's one of the classic shows of time, and voted one of the best in the world actually. So it's well worth checking out. Other than MASH, I've watched 1 episode of 12 Monkeys at the recommendation of a friend, and I gotta say I was a little. Yeah, so it was. I didn't know of it either. I was a little skeptical of the idea when she explained it to me. And let me see if I can find a synopsis to explain it better than I can. This is from Sci-Fi as well. A man from the post-apocalyptic future, Cole, uses a dangerous, untested method of time travel to get from 2043 to the present day. He's on a mission to locate and rid the world of the source of the plague that will eventually annihilate the human race. Assisting him is Dr. Cassandra Rayleigh, a virologist who must decide whether to do harm in order to save the world, regardless of the fact that she has taken the Hippocratic Oath. It's based on the 1995 film of the same name, that had Bruce Willis as Cole in that one.
That's what I was wondering, because I remember the movie 12 Monkeys, and I didn't realize they were making a series out of that. So interesting.
Yeah. It's actually very good. And in terms of ratings and the likes, it seems to be getting rated very highly. It's got 94% on Google, Google reviews, 94%. Which is pretty damn high. Let me actually Google it to the word rating to see if we can add any more on. It got 7.6 on IMDb and 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not the highest thing out there, but I gotta say, first episode was pretty enjoyable. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I was expecting it to be a lot cheesier than it actually was. So I was pleasantly surprised to find how cheesy it was not.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out as well. If you like sci-fi stuff, it's great, and it's apparently it gets pretty complex later on in terms of the time travel and the likes. But and then there's a couple of times where you're like, okay, that was a little dumb, but it is still overall enjoyable. Characters are interesting, cinematography is good. It's all very enjoyable. Last thing I want to mention that is worth mentioning is I've been playing Oblivion on Xbox.
Really?
I now have. Yeah, so I actually purchased this about 6 weeks ago now for Ken Features as a sort of like something of a gift because her Skyrim disc is being annoying and she's really enjoyed Skyrim and wants to play something similar. And what is similar to Skyrim that's out there? And I was like, well, Oblivion is very similar to Skyrim, right? Yes. It's effectively the same game, really. It's
arguably better in a lot of ways.
I would argue that as well. It's certainly a better game in my mind. I loved Skyrim, but Oblivion, I'm playing through it again. I'm enjoying more than every time I've replayed Skyrim is less enjoyable than every time I've replayed Oblivion.
Oh.
And normally I replay Oblivion with a crap ton of like mods, right? And this time I'm playing on Xbox, so I have no mods, and it's still so fun. So I'm playing as a mage, and I was thinking to myself, I'm still in the Skyrim mindset of like, oh, but mages are boring, they suck. It's so hard to play a mage because you just do the same like 3 spells over and over. But I remembered that doing the Mages Guild quests, first of all, that's all I've done in this game, and I've got 18 hours gameplay. Like, what the hell? And secondly, I'm trying not to cheat. I'm trying not to do the save load stuff whenever I do anything wrong.
Oh, gotcha.
So if I pickpocket somebody, for example, I take the consequences, right? And I was stealing stuff in the Mages Guild, like just a couple like soul stones or whatever they were. Yeah. And somebody went around the corner and saw me. And so I got arrested, lost all my stuff, and more importantly, got kicked out of the Mages Guild. And I got told, go gather 20 of each of these herbs. I was like, all right, I'll just go to like a herb shop, and then that'll be that, and it'll take me like 10 minutes. About 4 hours of gameplay. Not even kidding. I had to resort to guides to find these like very specific. And it turns out the flowers they ask you to go get are only spawn in like 3 places in the entire map. Like, and the first place I went to, where there was supposed to be 10 of them spawning, turned out that's DLC only that I didn't even have. And I was like, God damn it, it's the only place I can go has 8 flowers, and I need to get 20. So I had to go there, gather the 8 flowers, leave that place, wait for 3 days for them to respawn, and repeat this like 3 or 4 times. And that's why it took so long for me to just do a simple quest to get back into where I was, just because I got caught stealing a single freaking soul stone. Oh my god. Oh, but it feels good though, because I feel like I earned it, you know. And I've really been enjoying the Mages Guild storyline. And back to where I said I thought the mages were boring, I forgot how fun it is to be in the Mages Guild once you've done all the like hopping town to town quests, and once you're actually in the Arcane University, because that's when you get access to enchanting your equipment, right? Which is great. Like, unlike Skyrim, where it's very cut down and safe, in this game. Like, you can be like, oh yeah, you want to enchant your robe with shock damage so that it just continually hurts you? Okay. You can do anything you want to. Put your spell on anything. Do what you want. It's okay. And you can also make your own spells and name them as well. Combine effects. You want to throw a fireball at somebody and also heal them? Okay, you can do that. That's acceptable. So it's a lot of fun. One of the things I've done right now, and I was kind of struggling because I put too much effort into Conjuration, and the problem with Conjuration is it doesn't level with you, you know? So if you're leveling a level 75 like being at the start of the game, it's super powerful. But now that I'm like level like 20 or whatever, when I summon things, they get hit like twice and then die, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to do something else. So I've tried to do a lot more destruction stuff, but it means that my Conjuration's really fallen behind, or sorry, is far ahead of the curve, but is useless overall. But my destruction's too far behind, and now I'm getting like trumped by my enemies, and I was like, crap, what am I going to do? So I decided to use the Mages Guild itself and go and forge some new equipment and make some spells. So I made a spell which was I just called like I don't know, I think I called it something like Innervate or something. I tried to make it like a Warcrafty spell type thing. Idea being that all it does is fortify my destruction magic ability by like a massive amount. And also like protects me by loads of magic amount, and it gives me a shield, and it heals me over time. And basically I cast it once, it takes all my mana, but then it restores my mana up for me, and then I'm just pretty much invincible and can do tons of damage suddenly and use my destruction as if I was max level. It's great. Like I love that you could do this, you know? Like in Skyrim, if you go down the mage tree and you pick up a bow or whatever, no. You will do no damage, and you will do no damage for the next 3 hours. And that's it. That's life now. Whereas if you in Oblivion, it's like you can do it, but you gotta work it out. You gotta earn it in your own way. But you can do it. Like right now, I don't have any skill in Blade, for example. Like I have like level 12 out of 100 in Blade. But if I wanted to, I could go get a bunch of gear. I could like enchant it all to like increase my blade skill, and without even using a sword once before, I could have max skill. But it would cost me loads of money, right? Like insane amounts of money. And that's the cool thing. That's one of the really like the most cool things about Oblivion. It's just the sheer ability to do what you want. Same with like alchemy and stuff. Like I have these potions that are just ridiculous now. Like I had this one dude who was I kept getting killed by these spirit ghost things that shot frost spells, and the thing that made them really annoying is the one they would silence me. So as a mage, I was useless. And then they'd also do tons of damage to me and burden me so that I couldn't walk either. So I was just standing still, unable to do anything. Like, I'm dying. So what I did is I just specialized a bunch of stuff into resisting frost, and then that was me. So that even when they did that stuff to me, I was just like, okay, I'll just put on my anti-frost stuff, and suddenly you're just bouncing off me. In fact, I absorbed their effects, so every time they shot me, I would gain magic back. I would gain mana. Like, you know, you can specialize that way. You could have like 20 different equipment sets that you base on where you're going, what kind of quest you're doing. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on Oblivion, because I could talk about it for hours, is one of the toughest things in the game is to get into the Dark Brotherhood, you must slay an innocent.
Yeah.
The difficulty, the extreme difficulty is there's not just like man or villager walking around. Everybody has some kind of use for frickin' a quest somewhere, or who knows, right? And also you can't it's not going to coddle you. Like the main quest line dude you can't kill, but anybody else, it's pretty much open game. You want to kill that guy? Okay. You can't complete the Mages Guild quest line anymore, but you can do it. You know, that's kind of what the game's like. And you can't stealthily, unless you do it like extremely stealthily, the guards will be after you forever as well, because they're psychic or something. So what I did was I had this one Mages Guild quest that was the Fingers of the Mountain. I don't know if you recall that, because it's quite a unique one. You're trying to get into the Mages Guild, and one of the quests you have to do to get in, to appease one of the local guild masters, is to get rid of this nuisance person in town who has been known to be a troublemaker in the past. So go talk to them and find out why they're here and what they want, so hopefully you can get rid of them. You go up and this girl says, "Oh, I'm here because I'm after just a book. I'm just after a book. It's on this hill. Maybe you can go get it for me. It's called The Fingers of the Mountain. That'd be nice if you fetch that for me and don't tell your guild master. I'll pay you handsomely and yada yada yada." So you have a choice there, right? You're like, I can either go and tell the guild master as I should, and follow the righteous path here and get the recommendation I want. Or I could go get paid maybe a lot of money and do this other thing. And plus, it's a very unique spell she's after, called the Fingers of the Mountain, that you'll learn later on. So in the past, what I did was I was evil, and I just did what she wanted me to do so that I could earn the reward. And what happens is you have to have a bunch of lightning resistances when you do this quest, because otherwise you'll just get one-shotted to death. But what happens is you go up to the top of this mountain, you cast this spell, and lightning comes down from the sky and kills you, unless you make yourself resistant or effectively immune. And it's tough to do. But if you manage to survive, you get the spell, which is neat. The spell is really powerful. I think depending on your level when you get it, it's fit for that level, right?
Okay.
So if you get, I'm level 16. If I got at level 16, it'd be a level 16 spell. So it's quite powerful. And the cool thing about it is you shoot lightning and it bounces to 5 targets nearby and does the same damage to all of them. Incredibly powerful, right? Totally overpowered. And so I was tempted, but I was like, no, this time I'm not going to bother, because I had a plan. My plan was, I'll go get a book, I'll hand in the book to the guildmaster, he'll say quest done, and then I'll go talk to the girl and see if there's anything else I can do with her. So I did that. And I went up to the girl, and she was like, "Have you found the book yet?" And I was like, "No, I gave it to the guildmaster." And she's like, "Oh, well, screw you then. Maybe you can, do you want to go steal it back from him?" And I was like, "No, I'm definitely not going to do that. I will not help you." And she's like, "Well, screw you then." And then she walks off in a huff. And I was like, "You're no longer a quest line. I know this. Yeah, I'm done with you now." So I followed her back to her hotel room.
You're the beginning of a new quest.
Yeah, I just murdered her. And in the corner it says you sense a presence has been watching your dark deeds, or something like that appears. And I'm like, yes. Then I had to outrun the guards for 2 hours and finally got away. But anyway, after all that, I finally got into the Dark Brotherhood, and I did it without ruining any quests. So I was really proud. But great fun. Oblivion is so fun. It scales well, I was looking at even when I'm running around right now, there's areas of when I'm walking near an Oblivion gate, the sky becomes more demonic, red and scarred almost.
I did like the Oblivion gates.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, it still looks so pretty. The whole the game, you can tell its age now. In fact, how old is Oblivion? Oblivion game, not the film, release date. It came out in 2006, so it's over a decade, right? It's an old game, but it still has its beauty about it. I mean, the characters all look a bit... they always look a bit dated.
Yeah,
they're special.
I mean, it looked good
you
at the
can literally
time.
make a card look like... It looked okay at the time. I mean, you can literally make characters look like Shrek, right? You can do some pretty bad stuff in the game, but it's great. If you want to find an old game that's cheap or a game that's worth your while that you'll put hundreds of hours into, Oblivion is great. Cannot recommend it more. Fantastic game. Better than Skyrim, in my opinion.
Well,
and Skyrim's great. Don't get me wrong.
I will say Oblivion had better mods as a whole, or just ones that really helped the world feel full and real. One of my favorite things is the main, and I forget the name of the main town in the center of it, but
the Imperial City.
Yeah, the city itself. I had mods that basically made a second story to all of the downtown's areas and stuff, so it just made it super filled with characters running around. Everything was so well done. I absolutely loved all that. So yes. And Oblivion was one I spent a lot of time on. And it's funny because when you talk about the enchanting and magic system, I always like to reference back that Bethesda had figured that out all the way back in their original one that allowed you to kind of have full freedom, which was Daggerfall. Where Daggerfall, basically they said the continent was the size, or your gameplay was the size of the UK, but it was almost all procedurally generated. But it was one of the first ones they did the magic system where you could create your own spells of any kind. There was just a cost. And so you could create, flying spells that lasted however long and could lift, however high and stuff, but it cost this much mana and for the duration, Same thing with, like you said, spells that could do AoE, damage, but could also heal you, and stuff like that, things that can make you run faster and breathe underwater, and, all these kind of things. All of it worked, but all of it, depending on how powerful you made it, would take a cost, be it a certain level requirement and or mana requirement, and sometimes you could design a spell that you could never actually cast.
Yeah.
And things like that. And so I just thought it was brilliant, and wish more things took note of that and did things like that. Would be great.
Oh yeah. Because that's the thing. Today they make it so that they very much hold your hand. Like in Skyrim, like so the magic system is so dumbed down. Even the number of trees available they cut down on. Like mysticism doesn't exist anymore in Skyrim, which is the ability to do like telekinesis and stuff like that. It was a bit of a weird tree, but you know what? It's nice to have that there. Like acrobatics and athletics, they don't exist anymore either. They really took out armor skill in Skyrim as well. Like it's
they
different
dumbed
entirely.
They dumbed things down a little bit. Oblivion was probably the biggest of their games with the world and how diverse of things you could do in it. Skyrim was a little more focused experience, and a lot of people thought it was a lot of fun, especially like you said, first time through. Definitely had some cool things that happened in Skyrim. But there were things in Oblivion that were just so memorable, and just the way I played it was, this is pretty awesome. And so that is, I agree. Oh no, Oblivion was great. All right.
Fantastic game.
All right. So with that though, sir, I think it's time for us to take a break. I'm going to cue up some music from our friends at Edifice. We haven't played them for a little while. I'm going to play their song "Open Door." And then we will come back with my geek cred, and we'll continue talking about it. As I'm going to help tell everybody about what I've been doing, and especially as I went and visited Dragon Con out in Atlanta last weekend. So with that, you're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com, and we will be back right after this.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com. listening to Show X on btwproductions.com.
Alrighty, guys, so we are back, and welcome back to Show X. So, geek cred for me this week. How shall I start it? Alright, so I've been doing some 3D printing. In fact, my printer is running solid and happy over there. I had some issues before, and some kind of getting into it where my filament, cheaper filament will do this, kept getting wrapped up and basically killing itself, making it very difficult, essentially, to get good prints out. It kept getting caught, and then when it would do that, it would pull to a point where it wouldn't print anymore. Like, the software would continue to print. So, for those out there in Happy Land, apparently, my entire internet decided to restart itself that time.
It's a good time for it.
So that was yeah. I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, all of a sudden it said, no, we're just going to restart the internet. Why not? That seems like a thing to do. So that's what happened there. That was interesting, because all of a sudden I was talking, I looked at you, and nothing was moving. And then it was like, okay, well, so that's nice. That's nice. Thank you, internets. Thank you for that. So anyhow, let us get back to things. I was just starting to talk about All Good Things Dragon Con and what I experienced there. And so hopefully I can get back started with that one. And sorry for everyone for the, minor hiccup here. I say minor, major hiccup here for weather, for the show here. That's just, annoying and then some. Let's see. So you guys, let's get that as encoders going back on for the audio stream. All right, now we're back up and running. So, anyhow, weird. Yeah, like I said, that was the whole internet said, nope, we're not going to work anymore right now. Bastards. So, back to things. Wanted to talk about Dragon Quest and what I've been doing that's been geeky and such. I was talking about 3D printing, said the Corvo mask that I had just printed. So I was just talking about that when it crashed. Also was trying to bring up again, for those who are curious, my website for my cosplay, which is Predictably Ham. I think I might have mentioned it before, but on social media, on Facebook, you can find me as Predictably Ham, which leads into the Dragon Con conversation. So, Dragon Con last week, or last weekend, for me was phenomenal. It was a great time. Went out Thursday, got there, and one of the things about Dragon Con, unlike many cons that I've gone to, is Dragon Con goes hard. And when I say it goes hard, it continues all throughout the weekend. It does not have a good stop. It starts even before it's essentially officially starts. It goes where officially it starts Friday, but people are already there Thursday partying in costume and doing all of the things. In fact, they actually get there even sooner than that, in that they get there Wednesday and some people start partying, which is crazy. But it's a 4-day con officially. It goes through Labor Day weekend on Monday and actually has events Friday through Monday. But in this case, it actually has some on Thursday now, which is crazy. You have a look, Ken. Can you hear me, or are things bad?
No, things are good. There's a fly in my face, and I was trying to see where it was.
Okay, that would make more sense then, because all of a sudden you just had this look like, grr.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, so for this Dragon Con, the main things I wanted to bring up and make sure that I let everybody know about is, let's see, actually one other thing I need to do here is, for whatever reason, it looks like my microphone is barely picking up again. No, that's good. Why? Hello? Maybe, do I have to, I shouldn't have to get, that's weird. It's, okay, now it's bouncing better. I don't know what happened. I wonder if something was trying to do automatic things on me again. Yeah, oh well. But I was working on my Thomas Jefferson cosplay. I think a lot of people hopefully saw some of my streams on that and things like that. Because I was going to Dragon Con to be part of a Hamilton, the musical cosplay group. And in this, it was great because I got to be a part of some of the great cosplayers from here in Colorado that were going out to Atlanta for Dragon Con. I showed up, let's see, on Thursday. I got to meet up with some gamer folks I know that I was sharing a room with. And as soon as I got there Thursday, jumped right into, dropped right into their parties that night. When once I got settled, I went and got in. I wasn't sure what I wanted to wear initially, so I just threw on my pajamas. my Ninja Turtle pajama set and ran down to the main hotel, the Marriott, because they have that night a essentially pajama party up on the loft, which is in the open main atrium where everybody kind of goes up to the loft part, and they're all wearing some in their skimpies, some in just various types of pajama wear. But a good time party, which is basically a good theme or kind of set up for what Dragon Con is. Actually didn't make it up to that loft because as I was heading there, I ran into some of my friends. I think this one case it was Ginny D and her fiance Josh, where I ran into them and followed them as they were going to transition over to the Bunny Hutch, which in the next hotel over is a big party that happens that first night on Thursday that is themed as bunnies. But not just any bunnies,
Nice.
Playboy bunnies. And so what you have is people that show up in either bunny outfits or essentially Hugh Hefner style robes or smoking jacket, things like that.
That sounds comfortable.
Yeah, no, it's a very comfortable, like chill first night of partying, except that people take it to an extreme. And since this is such a known event, they don't just come up in a bunny costume or something. They come in cosplay. And so what they'll do is they'll take characters they love and transition them into bunny outfits.
No, Jesus. Okay.
Some do simple things, like if you've played League of Legends, how they have like what is the bunny outfit for Riven?
For
I think
Riven,
it is.
etc. Yeah.
Yeah, things like that or such. And I've seen bunny outfits like that around before. In this case, there was you name it. Some of the ones I saw that were distinctive in my mind was one of the first ones was a C-3PO and R2-D2. Where the R2-D2 was wearing a little onesie swimsuit type
Why?
outfit and a bunny ears type thing. But the C-3PO was pimp. Was wearing an entirely like silk gold suit. Like gold top and pants that were like this comfortable silk material. As well as the C-3PO mask and like a little scarf thing around. And just looked the part. Totally gold, this and that, walked around. I was like, okay, that is fairly brilliant. Trying to think some of the other main ones I saw, some that you might recognize, but there were some from like Overwatch. One of the people I actually know, cosplayer around, Rebecca was there as a female version of Reaper from Overwatch, but one of the cool things that she did, she had kind of like the onesie thing for the Reaper. I don't think she had a cloak so much, but she did have like the head cover part of the cloak, but not like a cape or anything, and the Reaper mask. And then for bunny ears, she made skeletal bunny ears to match the skull look of the mask. And I thought that was brilliant. And so there were just a lot of examples of people who take cosplay to another level where they will cosplay even so far as for a specific like event, for the one party of the night. They bring a costume just for that. Which super excites me in that I'm hoping next year, because I plan on going again, that I will be able to bring a large group of mine with, and we can all plan out costumes and things specifically for all the different nights at Dragon Con. Also, I wanted to share with people that, let's see, I'm going to probably share with you and with everyone some of the photos I took as I continue to talk through it. Some of the things just to mention as a whole, though, is I also went to a Steam Powered Giraffe concert. For those who are into
yes,
steampunk.
I remember seeing that, yep.
And that was quite fun, although it sucked. They did have a lot of technical issues. They were about an hour late getting started, or a little more than that, in which they were already getting started at like 2 in the morning. I don't think they went on stage really till about 3:30. And
that's pretty annoying.
with it, though, the challenge was is basically their music setup, the sound wasn't working right. And so even when they got on, they did their first song, they stopped right afterwards and kind of were trying to stay in character, but we're talking to the sound tech saying, I can't hear myself in the earpiece, and I can't hear anyone else of the crew, so it kind of makes it hard to sing and harmonize when you can't hear anyone on stage. And so they went through it. It took a while to get sorted, but eventually they got it going and kept playing, and it kind of went back and forth between several of the songs they played, where it was in and out. But it was my first Steam Powered Giraffe concert, and it was a lot of fun. So that was pretty cool.
Well, that's the main thing, as long as it was enjoyable, because after all that time, there's a good chance it won't be, because people can be so annoyed after
you could be
waiting
just
for so long.
done. And I'm sure people did leave, but we kept with it and had a great time, and that was fun. Also, I got to, and so I got some swag from the place. Like I said, this is going in before I get to photos. The shirt I am wearing for old school gamers might appreciate, and that this is from, I actually got a sign from the creator of, who was in their art, or their I forget what they call it, but the celebrity row, essentially, where all celebrities hang out and do signatures and things. But I got a shirt from the old computer game series Leisure Suit Larry. And
Oh, I know that. Yeah, yeah.
so it's got Larry Laffer right on the front of it. And the key there,
Very nice.
it is signed by Al Lowell, the gentleman who created Leisure Suit Larry and was there at Celebrity
Wow.
Row. And it was one of those rows that when I saw him, I was just like, oh, snap. You created one of the games that probably helped color my childhood in a way my parents wouldn't have appreciated. Thank you very much for doing that, and I'm a big fan. And it was great. I mean, at the same time, it was kind of a time where there wasn't anyone else talking to him, so I sat and talked to him for a little bit and just kind of gushed at how cool it was to see him that he was out at the con. Because he also said he doesn't do a lot of conventions, so that was pretty neat. With that, I also talked to Rob Paulson, who is the voice of Yakko Warner from Animaniacs back in the 90s, and one of my favorite cartoons of all time from Warner Brothers. That he was there, does the voice, does singing and stuff like that, and so I got to talk to him and get a signature from him. Very happy about that. Other than that, let me start going through some of my photos. So I'm going to, like I said, go ahead and share the screen first with you, Ken, so that you can actually see what I'm doing for a change. Let's see. There we go. Yep. Start that, and hopefully I can still... Come on, Skype, go back to there. That way I can still have you on as well. All right, so you see what I'm showing here, Ken, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so going through photos, this is kind of just chronological order, and I'll knock through these fairly quick. But jumped right in, and this is going through some of the...
Logical. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. Going through from the dealer's alley and stuff right away, and this is just one of the 3 floors of the Paulson Center Convention area that the dealer's hall takes place in, because it is ridiculous and massive. Oh, wait, I need to actually click the button so people can see this. Haha, there we go. Now you can see it. And start out right away with Fire Nation from Avatar, which is great. All right, so now I'll just kind of go through these, hopefully quickly. So took a couple pictures of them, found Waldo and Carmen Sandiego, which is a common pairing that you'll find at conventions, because everybody likes to find where in the world is Carmen Sandiego and where's Waldo. Found some Raven and Beast Boy, which I love any of the Teen Titans. Some Lolita dressed gals running around in cute little dresses. A replica of the DeLorean from Back to the Future 2 in this case, or the end of 1, I guess it would have been. No, 2, yeah. Whichever one. Where it has, I think it's the end of 1 and it goes into 2 where he's able to fly instead of just run around, but a great replica there. Found some Voltron cosplay, made me super happy, and actually several princesses, which normally you see all the paladins, but not as many of the princesses. Various costumes of people I didn't know, some of the comic creators that were there, and that one group that I follow, the basically black creators, and purchased one of their comics, the Tuskegee Airs, which talks about Tuskegee Airmen and such from back in the day. Various Zelda cosplay, some really good ones that were out there that I saw going through. Of course, some other like Brock and Pokemon cosplay, which since I do Brock now was very fun to see. So any of those I'm happy to see. Again, tons of others that unfortunately I don't recognize, or I see some but I don't know as much. There was a lot of, and I wish I had brought mine. One of my biggest challenges with cosplay is wanting to bring all of my costumes when I can't, and wanting to wear them all at once when I can't. So
That will always be a challenge, sir.
I did not bring my Shepherd book this time, but I saw in a massive Firefly cruise, including a lot of Zoes and captains and such like that. And so seeing that really kind of made me like sad because of how many there were there, and I wasn't book. And I didn't run into any books while I was there. So again, I was like,
Oh, so you would have been the book as well. Oh.
every time.
That's the thing, though. You can't go the same thing every time. You'll get bored, you know? You need to spice up occasionally.
You are correct. I need to always change things up and do other things. Kaneda. So, great couple that I ran into, these gals, who were doing Alexander Hamilton and Eliza from the Hamilton musical. While they were doing that, I was in my Thomas Jefferson. And so the great thing about that is we got together and then started wandering the con together a little bit as we were making our way to a panel. That was a Hamilton sing-along panel. What was great about this is us all hanging out is we got so many more photos together as a group. Also, then after the panel, ran into one of the cosplayers that I'm going to shout out to, which is Take a Chance Cosplay on Facebook. Gal that I met in the Hamilton sing-along, who was sitting next to me and singing along very, was very enthusiastically part of the group. Went up front and sang some as well. Ran into her a few times with different costumes, but her rogue I thought was outstanding. And she had the whole southern accent and everything because she's from the South. So that was really cool.
Brilliant. Nice.
Yep. A Kaylee and a... I was going to say totally the wrong name there. Inara from Firefly, which was great too, because when I saw them, of course, the Kaylee dress is always easy to see, the big cotton candy dress that people see. The Inara that was next to her, when I took a picture, I was like, oh, can I get a picture of you guys? And she was like, well, and Inara. And she was like, oh, you know who I am? Like, because everyone sees the Kaylee, and it's like, well, yeah, you're Inara, right? And she's like, ah. So it's funny when you can actually capture stuff like that.
It's good that you make somebody's day that way as well. That's nice.
You do at times. You really do. Some of the background cast within Hamilton, which was very unique for them to dress up as. Not the main characters, but the ones that are all running around singing with. So these couple did really great. And then, of course, just beautiful dresses and stuff like that. A Belle running around. Some fun ones of like Spy vs. Spy back the day. And I'll go through. This is one of the more entertaining random ones that it took me a second to see. So this was Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un. And the best part about their costume is that they were playing the part more than most others. And so as they were playing the part, they were just like the Dennis Rodman was like, what's the best Korea? And the Kim Jong-un would be like, North Korea. What's the best Korea? North Korea. What's the worst Korea? South Korea. They just had this whole thing going. So as they were running around, it was ridiculous, but surprisingly entertaining. Oh, lots of just different great costumes. Some throwbacks that I thought were stunning. So this one coming from the... Oh, gosh, I was going to say Labyrinth, but no, sorry. The Neverending Story, where it's the actual princess and the Rock Eater from that, which the Rock Eater great, but just the princess, and especially because this little gal looked so like the princess, it was ridiculous. Other costumes throughout, I want to say this is from the Warcraft movie. I forget the name of the character. Shoot, it's the main one, the girl that is half human and half orc. Crud. I forget her name. Some really impressive ones. I saw both an Optimus and a Bumblebee running around that were fully lit up and running around the convention and such. Other interesting ones, because the eclipse had just happened. Some throwbacks, like a gal selling plants for under $2 from the eclipse sale that are all references to the Little Shop of Horrors. If you remember, it was a musical as well as the Rick Moranis movie about the plant Seymour that grows up and starts eating people and wants blood. That was just a great costume to run into. Various other, just again, classics, everything. One of the ones I love seeing any Longshot cosplay because nobody ever does Longshot. Powerpuff Girls that were guys. Entertaining in the sense that when they were there, I forget the name of this drag queen that showed up as well, but fabulous drag queen kind of showed up and was hanging out with them. And as was down in the corner, the Spartans from 300, a group that is local to Atlanta or at least meets up there, of a good 30-plus people, and I have a picture of them later, came walking by. And when they came walking by, the Spartans were all in essentially just their loincloths and shields and spears and are very well-built individuals. So these guys and the drag queen were catcalling them horrendously, talking about, oh, you need to stop there, dear, and like, oh, drop that spear, pick it up slow, stuff like that. Just terrible, but it was hilarious. Other cosplayers, classic Disney stuff throughout. Here's the Spartans, for those who might be interested. And no, those muscles are not painted on, although there was a couple that had highlighted some abs, but these guys it is ridiculous, the group of Spartans, and they grow each year. And for a first time, at least for me, this year, they added ladies to the group. And so there were some surprisingly fit women running around as well in just as little.
Very nice.
Costume. Oh, it was phenomenal.
I'm sure everybody enjoyed, looking at both of the genders in that case.
Yeah, no, it was popular. Saw, again, more Voltron stuff that I keyed off left and right. Got to run into some of my nerds again, which was a great time. So, as I talked about from last time I was there, the cast from King of the Nerds from TBS, where they had 3 seasons of that show and contest. So, on the left is Mary Kate, who was one of the Season 3 contestants. And friends of hers, she works at NASA, which is great. And so, getting to hang out with some actual NASA engineers while at
That's
Dragon
really
Con.
cool.
So does the gal next to her. Also works for NASA, but one in Houston and one out in Cape Canaveral, I believe, or somewhere else like that. So I got to hang out with them, party, good times, and some of their group as a whole. Just fun. And just, like I said, all the great costumes. Another one I want to highlight is this couple here. These are actual UK cosplayers out of London.
I'm saying that's impressive. Actually, they look good.
So they're doing characters. I believe it's from the History Channel show Vikings or something to that effect, because he does do the cosplay for Ragnarok, I believe it is. But basically one of the main characters off of that, and he's very famous for that. In fact, I think I went to his page, and he has tens of thousands of likes on that page for his cosplay. And so I have show notes linked to each of these guys' pages, and I'll mention them in the end. Actually, they link themselves a little bit here. So Valentine Costumes, essentially, is what Andy does for Andy Valentine. And Raya, what she does is Dragon Rider cosplay. And so you guys can check them out on social media, but they do a great job of their costumes. And I met them the first night was at the Bunny Hutch, because they were introducing or working with some of... So, Grayfield, you said Rowdy Rough Boys, but I thought the Rowdy Rough Boys didn't wear dresses in Powerpuff Girls or the long hair, because the guys that were cosplaying were wearing the long hair and the actual dresses. Because I had that conversation with someone else about the Powerpuff Kids, whether it was the Rowdy Rough Boys or if it was the actual Powerpuff Girls doing a gender, not a gender bend, but a cross. So, I'm not sure. Anyhow, but these guys were phenomenal, and the first night at the Bunny Hutch, they were turnt. They were partying well. But got to meet them, dance with them, and have just a good time. So when I got a chance to pull them aside and take some photos, I was very happy to do so. And like I said, huge cosplayers. And do amazing work. Real chain worked into their leather, and just, so look the parts. And having the British accents did not hurt. Other randoms. So a gentleman that I seen last Dragon Con, and I noted again this time. Last time I'd seen him was Maleficent. He was doing a Maleficent cosplay. Looked absolutely stunning. Did a Jin cosplay
cool.
this time. Yeah, he just looks phenomenal. And so just, I saw his, I need to find who he is again, do it. A Medivh from Warcraft. That I recognize more for the staff than anything. Because my friend Vady that does it here has the staff, and I've seen it multiple times. So I was like, wait a second. That sure looks like a Medivh.
It'd be the feathery stuff for me.
So, but yeah, saw those. Some classic things like, was it Mayor? Oh, it was the McDonald's, one of the McDonald's old icons. And I knew it when I saw him, Mayor McCheese. That was his name for that one. Some great ones that were doing, what was it, Goose and, well, shoot. What was the main? And Maverick from Top Gun, the movie, running around in flight suits and had the cool look and kind of sound behind them, which is great. My friend Lee, who found a fur cosplayer, but not like a true furry, it was like a really neat lion's mask kind of thing that was really, really well done. And the jaw articulated. And so he was walking around talking, so I was just like, that's really cool. Classics, so Cowboy Bebop. And then just in general, to get a sense of kind of the place and stuff, dancing throughout the Marriott and people everywhere. One of the ones I wanted to note, though, and I took a few pictures of, was the gentleman in the red Adidas Stormtrooper armor, because he is fairly famous for videos of him running around in that outfit with a red boombox that he has there partying. You can find YouTube videos of him running around with that as a red Stormtrooper that is an Adidas-themed Stormtrooper. He's phenomenal. That was great to see. Just dancing his butt off. Ran into, and this is appropriate for the time, a Prince cosplayer. Because when you do see pictures of me, you'll notice a resemblance to my Thomas Jefferson. Because, admittedly, Lin-Manuel said that Thomas Jefferson's view that Daveed Diggs did was based off of Prince for the way he was presented. And so he has a very bright purplish coat that's very similar and things like that. So I often got mistaken as Prince the entire time I was at the convention, which was fine, except for the longest time it frustrated me because I wasn't sure why people kept saying that until I saw the Prince cosplayer and was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And part of it was the jokes that people would make where they kept saying, hey, man, where's your pancakes? I was like, what? I don't get it. And finally I asked someone, I was like, dude, the Prince skit from Dave Chappelle's show. And I was like, oh, I'm not Prince. That's why it makes no sense to me. And then I see a gentleman dressed as Prince with pancakes, completely fitting the meme. And so thought that was entertaining. Also ran another UK cosplayer. I forget the gal's name. but was over there. It's just fun to hear kind of their stories of what it was like to experience Dragon Con and a US Con, and just the reactions. One of the pictures I got, this gentleman who was wearing basically nothing. And I don't know specifically who it's from. I want to say it's like a Digimon or something, and this is where I lean to maybe a Grayfield to let me know who this character might have been. But I referenced this photo as if ever I was going to capture one image to describe to people what is Dragon Con. This would probably be the one. Because it is a man wearing very little in a very bright, feminine-looking costume and strutting proud to the world. And so, I throw that one out there as kind of a, Dragon Con. Some of my photos as I was out at Steam Powered Giraffe, proof that I saw them. And like I said, it was a great time and a good concert with them.
Although I've not looked at them for a few years, so I don't know who the big guy is.
He's newer. I forget his name. My friend Mike, he knows all of them and follows them very well. But I forget his name, but he was a newer member because one of the others is no longer with the group. It was a Sylveon. Oh. Thank you, Grayfield. So, Pokemon. Anyhow, so this is a view as I was up in the West and hanging out with our friend Kitty Krell, who's the major cosplayer from Denver area, and her and Jim's suite, as I was helping them finish up some costumes and work on things, just getting a view overall of Atlanta, Georgia, from way up on high. Also, and I think I have a couple little shots. I didn't share all the shots on Facebook with, at least on my Death House productions, of some of the behind the scenes. I took some behind the scenes of the Hamilton stuff, where you could see groups of us kind of finishing up costumes and working on things like that. So here, and I don't know the cosplayer's name, but another one that knows, my friend Jenny, was doing a Lux cosplay, and I forget the specific outfit or skin for Lux that she was doing. But really neat how she had done the headdress or the headpiece as well as the wings and such behind. So that was a really neat one. Then my friend Jenny, who does the Arya Stark cosplay to end all Arya Stark cosplays from Game of Thrones, absolutely his doppelganger, looks amazing. And so
I love that. She's perfect. Even her eyebrows are perfect. That's crazy.
She really, really takes effort in what she's doing. And she made the whole costume, made the doublet, did the stitching on it to give it the quilted look and everything. Punched the holes, put it all together. She's really talented. You can find her at Ginny D Cosplay. She's gone professional, so this is what she does now. It's big. As well as another one of her friends.
That's neat.
I want to say this might have been Rebecca as well, but I forget for sure who's doing, and I forget the character's name from Final Fantasy 15, but the mechanic gal that runs around was hanging out as well. Saw this amazing Bloodspot. Like, this guy just was ominous, tall, big, and looked the part from the comics, if people haven't ever seen that one. Really good comic series. I looked at him and was just like, dude, that is phenomenal. So that looked amazing. Some great just, Moana and stuff like that costumes, and Maui costumes that make me think I don't know if I could ever do it myself because these people look too great. And so just all over the place, great costumes. And then to totally scare myself out, and I saw this being carried up the steps at some point prior in the con, there was a Mimic. And I don't know if they had someone in it at any point or stuff like that, but it was just this very well-built Mimic chest that they could close, and when they opened it, teeth, eyeballs, everything. Because for those who have ever played with me in a game where I've run into a Mimic, especially as a loot chest, they cause me to scream and run away like a child. They definitely catch me where I'm not paying attention. I'm like, oh, another loot crate. Oh, another loot crate. Ah, it's trying to eat me. Look at the teeth. And so that,
They're very powerful and terrifying in any game that they're in, be it tabletop or otherwise.
Absolutely, and so that one just got me. Oh, lots of young cosplayers. One of the more entertaining, side ones was a group that was sitting in the corner. It was low light in the hallways, so I just got this quick shot. But it was a Jigglypuff sitting next to a Snorlax, sitting next to a sleeping soldier, which just fit so well. Fit so well. They were just hanging out in this little... Yeah. And it's funny because they were just giggling. Just sitting there chilling. And they were some of the best, chill costumes you could have. Because wherever the soldier was, he would just lay down somewhere and had the Z's coming out. And they were just like, okay, that's great. Because I want to say that's one that's, a Metal Gear Solid one?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that has to be. So here, running into another cosplayer that was also doing Jefferson the same time I was. And so we got together and we compared a lot of notes as to how we made our costumes and the good, the bad, and ugly, and things that could be done better and such between them, and had a good time there. Was the only other Jefferson I ran into, and like I said, we had just lots of notes to share on the subject. But was a lot of fun to see another one, and we were very similar. Some minor differences, some things I may have done a little better, and some things she definitely did way better than me, like the back cut of her coat. I think I had taken a picture of the back of it specifically to show that she figured out how to do the cut correctly, where I had not. And so I will be revisiting
I know that people, we've talked about in the past how people get quite mad at sometimes get mad at gender bending, and they get mad at the race differences. If I don't know, the character is black and you go white, or the character is white and you're black, or whatever, people get mad at these kind of things.
Yes, all the people who are uninformed twats who get mad at people for.
They're entirely wrong, of course. My point is just I thought due to this sort of, I would say, discrimination of people against people who are just trying to have fun, the PC police and all that, I thought this sort of thing would be less likely, because I thought because she's both gender bending and race bending, right?
Well, not, because original Thomas Jefferson was an old white man.
Of course,
right? But yeah,
so I assume it's Hamilton she's doing, not just general.
Yeah, you're right. Doing it from the Hamilton musical. So the challenge with that is, admittedly, Grayfield, yes, her shoes weren't as period accurate, but she was running around con all the time, so you get tired and your feet hurt. I think we had some comfy shoes, although I sacrificed the buckles that I had 3D printed because I danced too hard the first day and then they came off. And so I was a little suffering for that. But with that issue, and actually while talking to her, I ran into some cosplayers for Voltron, which I think I should have a picture of as well. There was also an Indiana Jones cosplay where it was Indy and his father, so it was Junior and his father, running around together tied up the whole time, and was truly entertaining to see them maneuver the con. And then gal that we talk and sang Hamilton with, who was in a little cash Wonder Woman cosplay, but was a ton of fun. And then this Pidge, as well as the Keith cosplayers that I ended up talking to, and apologized to a little bit because we started talking a little bit about the whole PC police and gender bending and things like that, and I may or may not have gone off on a large rant about how people need to chill the frick out. And my opinion that as long as things are done with done where you're trying to portray the character and you're not mocking the race or culture in being the character, then I don't care. And I'm as bad as to say, if you do things to change the color of your skin to some degree, I don't mind if you're portraying the character accurately. And I also brought up a major thing that it is only in the United States of America is this an issue.
Yep.
No other place in the world has had the same kind of background that we have here, and thus aren't as concerned with everybody's feelings and about how it is, and they see it more as just what it is, where it's like, yeah, you're cosplaying, you look the part, awesome. And I've seen it because I've seen people attack cosplayers from other parts of the country or other parts of the world for things they did to look apart. And it's like, you do realize they're not American. They didn't have those issues that cause us to have sensitivities. But everybody should know. And I was like, you need to get off your high horse and realize the world is bigger than you. So I seriously rant and rave for probably a good 15, 20 minutes with them, where my voice was getting louder. It may have been somewhat due to me consuming pretty much nothing but alcohol and maybe a Pop-Tart that day.
That's carbs. You're not allowed to have carbs.
That was before. I started the diet just last week after.
Okay, so you're not drinking at all anymore, by the way.
Well, no, you can drink, but it has to be like straight whiskey, which has 0 carbs, and straight... the whiskey itself has no carbs. Now, if you mix it with anything, there's issue. But whiskey by itself, I have to double check on rum, but I know whiskey by itself is free, and so it's a good one to have for no carbs.
Okay.
Various other ones like Willy Wonka. Granted, this is the more modern Johnny Depp version, which I've had conversations. I much prefer the original. I always forget what this priest is from. I think it's a metal group or something like that, an actual musical group. This Death Priest. I want to say that's what it's from because I've seen it before. A whole group of basically all the dead knights from Lord of the Rings that were running the Nazgul, I'm trying to remember the name, that were cutting people. Another princess, a paladin version. It was awesome. So Troll from Shrek. I forget her name though. The princess. I forget the princess's name. Other costumes. One of the
I
ones that
don't
was a throwback was from the Jetsons. And she was
Oh,
basically
very
playing-
nice.
And I forget the name of. I said Judy, but I was like, wait, isn't Judy the wife? And so I was trying to remember what the name of the robot was. I want to say it was like Rudy or something like that, or something Ruby or something. I forget the name. But she was dressed as and just cute in a way to do
Rosie.
it. Rosie. See, yes, so close. Naruto cosplay that was very good. I love that they had such a big group with it. Archer cosplay. It was hilarious to see a Pam running around. Got her outside. Okay, so this is going to be some of the quick shots. So this coming from, Pulp Fiction. A couple of people. And then this was Weil. And so here again, so the one that I showed before from Take a Chance Cosplay that was doing the Rogue, this is her doing a femme Loki. Or she had a cute little Loki dress and then this metal helm that she was wearing. Happened to run into, and it's not shown here, while we were taking our photos for Hamilton. And so after we got our group finally together, we were down there and we took photos, and she ended up running into our group there and actually helped us with the photos. So I want to give her credit. She shot some of the shots and some of the ones that some of the people really loved, as well as helped us do lighting and things like that. And I don't have the shots on here. If you've seen them on my cosplay page and stuff like that, you'll see some of the Hamilton shots. I will pause here for a moment to talk that scene because just in chronological order talk more about it. But I basically spent that Saturday before my group got together in Kitty's room helping finish sew and where I could help where I could. Because Kitty had done all of the dresses for the cosplay group. And in doing so,
Wow.
well, not all. It was like 5.5 that she claimed. And Shauna had done most of hers. And then I did all of mine and such to get the group together. But she had done most of the Skylar sisters. She did Jim's outfit and she did Tori's outfit. And they're all amazing. They're all fully silk-lined, gorgeous, and stuff like that. So here's the thing. Yes, Kuro, when you're talking about guns and stuff, DCC is a childish convention here at Denver Comic Con and how they react to things. Dragon Con is an adult convention that's been going on for over 30 years. And they had no issues with props. Everyone's props were great. So there were gun props, there were sword props, there were all the kinds of props you could want. And it was great. Yes, this one is Fifth Element for those who don't recognize. And one of the best parts is because, well, like a lot of people will do, I've seen several people do the opera singer and several people do, Rudy Rod? I have yet to, and this is my first time I saw someone do the cosplay of the gentleman who basically goes to try to rob Bruce Willis's character at his apartment, where he goes and says no one out there, opens it, and he's holding the door like, ah, is all freaked out. That guy was wonderful, and it was awesome to see the cosplay. My friend Allie going ahead and doing another cosplay, which was her, how did she put it? Because this was essentially a cosplay of Woody from Toy Story, so it was her Booty Woody, is how she said it, because she had basically little booty shorts, looking all cute.
Very good.
That one was a fun one. I always like shooting with Allie. A lot of Overwatch, a lot of gaming stuff, some amazing Overwatch. In fact, I showed up to the hotel right after the Hilton, right after they had finished an Overwatch shoot, and ran into a lot of the people coming from it. Had some more Final Fantasy shoots, or people around. Classic Cabbage Man, although for once, someone who didn't have real cabbages. Instead, he had like little fabric ones, which was new for me. Other Paladins, like I said, always happy to see Voltron running around. A lot of Zelda that was running around again. More from Moana, different hook this time. The first guy's hook was amazing. This guy's was big, but the first one was amazing. A variation of Corpse Bride, I think, I'm not sure. Some awesome ones too, like a full Quidditch team from Harry Potter. And I don't know which team they were. I didn't go in and ask, but they were just running around with their specifically like all matching color outfits and stuff like that. And the best part was the little kid they kept holding was dressed as a golden snitch. And so whenever they'd pose and hold their child up, he'd start squirming around as though trying to get out. And so did a great job as a little snitch. It's truly fun.
Very nice. That's fun.
Running around, and this was when I was as Mr. Satan on Sunday. Ran into Android 1718. Always fun to see. Of course, I was kind of like, as I was playing the part and still had energy, they were coming down the hall. I backed against the wall as they're coming around, trying to like get as thin away from them as I could. And it wasn't until they're mostly past me they kind of noticed. And I think it was the 17 looked back and was like, oh, hey! And then I kind of ran around the corner to chase them and take photos of them because they looked really good.
Very nice. That's cool.
For Dr. Whovians, I forget the name of this guy, that the one that was captured in a Dalek essentially, and kind of came out one of the generals essentially to fight all the wars. Great costume with him, just this whole setup. Jinx, because League of Legends. Pit, because Smash Bros. And all things Nintendo. One of the other ones I thought was truly entertaining and fun. Old school Final Fantasy. Not old school, but my start to Final Fantasy VII. An actual Barrett cosplayer. You never see Barrett. Most underrepresented character out there. I was so happy to see this guy.
He's so happy. Look at him. He was having the best time.
As soon as I saw him, he was like, yeah. I was just like, dude. Plus, he had embedded in his gun a Bluetooth speaker where he was playing the Final Fantasy VII music. And I was just like,
nice.
Like, dude, that is so well done. Thank you. Classic Star Trek, and I forget the name of the alien that Kirk fights way back in the day, the original lizard monster. But again, Dragon Con being older, there's all this level. Through Harry Potter, again, some of the great villains throughout Harry Potter. Some, again, of the Overwatch cosplay, and there was some phenomenal Overwatch from Brave, Merida. Some interesting blends, and so a Marvel Avengers team, essentially, but of Muppets and such. And so that was
okay, that's a fun mix.
Yeah, there were some great just mixes of things people did. Another Overwatch, a Sombra cosplayer. And then a fun one where it's just from Family Guy. And then, again, more Overwatch. Like an adorable May. Lucio. And then, I forget her name. Another Overwatch tank type. Oh, forget her name, though. I don't play enough Overwatch. The one Homestuck I took a cosplay picture of because she just looked so nice. And was walking through so elegant as I saw her. So I had to get her photo. It was just
people freaking love Homestuck.
People do, and I do know, and I can.
That one.
Oh, I can bring you on some people that are crazy fans. And so, yes. But she just looked great. I had to comment on her gray. It looked phenomenal. Blendings of a few things, but basically Kill a Kill and such. And then awesome Seven Deadly Sins cosplay. Loved her. Thought it was great. Oh, gosh. Yeah, there was a lot of Rick and Morty. Oh, Zyra, thank you. Lots of Rick and Morty running around. Lots of Pickle Ricks. And something like that.
That's surprising.
They were everywhere. Melissa, essentially, I believe. A Howard the Duck cosplayer, which is some old school. Lots of, surprisingly, South Park stuff around here and there. And this is a great one from the episode where the father's running around and has the massive testicles and is bouncing around on them like a bouncy ball. That was hilarious. Oh, a Howl's Moving Castle. So classic Ghibli. Some stuff I did not recognize, but had phenomenal wig. And such. Some classic Sly Cooper and stuff like that. Lee again, my friend, doing her stuff. Black Panther and Storm. Rita Repulsa. One of the better, like, gender, or, gosh, I don't even know, crossplayed, essentially, of Misty from Pokemon. Normally you see them, they'll be a little more like, cringy. His was fun, and I got to give him credit. He was just like, yeah. So his was a good time. I love, and probably one of my favorites, is the ones who are doing Wonder Woman from the movie, but not the full like armor and stuff, but the actual classic when she first gets dressed in the movie to be more a little English fashion. That is probably one of my favorite costumes I've seen from Wonder Woman, and so them doing it with both Wonder Woman, Diana, and with the secretary, thought that was phenomenal. Again, Rick and Morty, because now the muscle suit version of Rick, and I forget his sister's name, Morty's sister, in that one, but all the silliness. Again, more Rick and Morty, some Tiny Tina, just bunches and bunches of cosplays. And so as we get short on time here, I will recommend, if you want more time to look at my photos, go to Death's House Productions, look at my photos there, and I will do a link to that in the show notes so people can go directly to my album. Otherwise, as I just kind of click through some amazing, amazing costumes that were there, where Dragon Con really does a phenomenal job.
Oh, is that a Yu-Gi-Oh reference there? Did I just see a Dark Magician?
Oh, yeah, there was a Dark Magician there. I believe that one.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, yeah, there was a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff and things. Like I said, the Tick. Classic Tick.
The Tick. Fantastic.
Just variations of so many costumes, Lannisters, and you name it. Some Jet Set Radio. Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage, and they actually look the part really well. And they would do they did the handshake where it's like, oh, let's shake. And it was like the really aggressive, muscly shaking of the hands. So totally playing the parts. Oh, so much fun. And I think we're getting close to the end of these, but just great costumes throughout. Captain Kangaroo, Meme Guy from Tra-la-la-la-la-la, to some shots of Kitty and Ginny out there as they did their beautiful Princess Nouveau shots with they were shooting with Yaya Han and with another cosplayer that I forget, famous one. They looked gorgeous, absolutely stunning. Ginny and them both. Kavi looked amazing, just kind of hanging out with them, and so I took some pictures with her, got to play with some light spinning around. And so that was basically my quick cosplay. I say quick as I take a half hour doing it, of Dragon Con, just kind of as a walkthrough. Speaking to the last pieces of that, though, and like I said, I have show notes for each of the cosplayers I'd mentioned. Also want to mention that at the same weekend that I wasn't at was NDK, and a lot of pictures I got to watch on social media as well about a bunch of people at NDK and all the fun they were having. Part of that moment of me wishing I could be in multiple places at once. To somewhat finish out my geek cred for it, partially not just for being at NDK, at Dragon Con and cosplaying with Kitty's group, who, like I've said before, was headed somewhat by our Alexander Hamilton, which was Jim Butcher, was actually I have started reading the Dresden Files. And I am currently up to the third book, the Ghost book there, and I'm going through it, and have been truly enjoying them. They've been a lot of fun, and it's entertaining because prior to Dragon Con, just like that week before on the Monday night prior, I actually met up with Kitty as she was flying back in from Corset Con, I think in the UK. She was out doing stuff, seeing all the major corsets that are out there. But I sat down at a kind of late night breakfast kind of thing with she and Jim as we started talking about the con. I was basically dropping off the 3D prints I did for his shoes for some buckles. And so we talked for a little bit there. And I told Jim a little bit how, I'm not trying to be that guy where it's like gush over fandom things. Because one, I haven't read his books. Or I have just started. But it was cool to talk to him because he's such just a geek. And he was mentioning, he almost was like giving answers like an interview without being interviewed. Where I was talking about just how cool it is, like his writing is like, hey, I just am a geek who likes to write things for people like me. And I was like, neat. Yeah, you're pretty awesome. So that was a good time, and
very cool.
It was fun because I've done just enough of the reading that as I was walking around the con and stuff, I actually saw Dresden cosplayers and could recognize it because I saw the big duster coat, a guy with a staff, and carrying a skull, right? And I was just like, I now know what that is. This is great. As well as I have video where I followed Jim and Kitty to a Dresden photo shoot that they went to where a bunch of cosplayers were dressed up as different characters from it. And got to see him interact with some of his fans and things like that. It was pretty cool. As well as I basically got to kind of party with them for a while in their room and help with the cosplay and stuff. So it was a good time.
That's cool. I've said before that I've read the Furies of Calderon books by Jim Butcher, which are so good. But I've never read the Dresden Files, and I do want to, but I just haven't gone to yet.
They are.
So I am very jealous of you having spoken to him.
No, they're so good. Jim's a great guy. Also, and just following that up, I'm up to the midway point of season 11 of Supernatural now. That's as far as I made it.
That's impressive.
So, that is my geek cred for today, and basically leads us into the end of today's show. Sorry about my internet hiccup in the middle, and thanks for those of you who stuck around through the nonsense. That was annoying. But with that, Ken, could you please walk us out of the show for today?
You, fine sir and or madam, I don't know how you can be and, but okay, have been listening to Show X on VTLProductions.com. Thank you very much for putting up with our technical difficulties. They've not been too bad. They've not been show ending, but they have been show disrupting. You can check out all the things that we want you to by going to VTLProductions.com, go into the forums at the top and go to the Show X board within there. You will find the art contest. Take part. You have a couple months, or a month and a half really to do so, but please do. It is well worth it. It's going to be fun. We've got lots of fun themes. Please do go take part. Check us on patreon.com/showx. All your pennies are appreciated, and they go towards only show-related stuff, and that does not include alcohol. It's always the hardware and software for the show to actually run that we spend it on. Check us out on Facebook.com and go to the Show X page there. Just look for Show X, and you'll find it easy peasy. I've been spamming so much stuff there, news, memes, etc., and people are loving it. We got so many good comments and likes and stuff. People really enjoy all the stuff we put there. Check us out on twitter.com/VTW Show X for the official show Twitter account, which is usually used just for official stuff. Or also you can check us out on twitter.com/DogDead for Mr. Wayne here, twitter.com/GoX for myself. And also send emails to showx@vtwrussians.com. We appreciate that too, and we'll read them out. We pretty much always read out your emails. So tell us what you've been up to in your personal geek cred, any interesting stories, any shout-outs you want to give, send them in there. Thank you very much for hosting the show, sir, through all the technical difficulties. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely, anytime I can. And it is wonderful to be back and to see you guys, and we'll hopefully catch you again next week on Show X. So thank you guys, and have a good weekend. For those who are going to be gaming in the gaming after the show, jump into the TeamSpeak, and let's see you there. I may be on for a moment, but I've got to go run around and do other things still as I'm catching up from everything I've missed lately. But we'll see you guys there. Thank you again, and we'll catch you again next week, and we'll see if music will play us out properly. So thanks, everybody.
Goodbye. See you next zombie. Good night. Also, God.